They say a mother's love is unconditional. But what if the woman who gave birth to you swears you were never hers? My name is Anna, and this is the story of how my own mother denied I was her daughter, until DNA proved the truth. I want to warn you before we begin. This isn't an easy story. It's full of cracks in the places where family is supposed to feel safest. But if you've ever felt unwanted or invisible, then maybe my voice will echo a part of your own. And please, if my story reaches you, leave me a comment telling me where in the world you're watching from. It matters more than you know, because for years, I thought no one could ever understand my pain. I was born in a small town in the Midwest in the late 1980s, the kind of place where everyone knew everyone, and people assumed families were tight, church-going, respectable. To the outside world, we looked like one of those perfect American households. My father had steady work at the auto plant. My mother baked pies for the church socials, and my older brother played baseball in the summer sun. But me, I was the odd one. From the very beginning, my mother treated me like I didn't belong. I'd crawl onto her lap when I was little, but she'd stiffen, almost recoil. At school concerts, she cheered loud for my brother, but when I sang, she'd sit stone-faced. I told myself she was just strict, that maybe she loved me in her own quiet way. But then, when I was 6 years old, I asked her, "Mom, why don't you hug me like you hugged David?" She looked me dead in the eyes and said words that still echo in my bones, "Because you're not my daughter." At first, I laughed nervously, thinking she meant it as a joke. But she didn't laugh. She turned her back and walked away. After that, nothing felt the same. I noticed the way neighbors would tilt their heads and whisper. At family gatherings, my aunts would joke, "Anna doesn't look like anyone in this family." I had lighter hair, different eyes. Even my smile felt like it didn't match. As I got older, the differences became sharper. My brother inherited Mom's green eyes and Dad's wide grin. I had blue eyes that no one else in the family shared. When I was 10, I brought home an art project, a painting I had worked on for weeks. My teacher had called it exceptional. I handed it to my mom, waiting for her to beam with pride. She glanced at it, muttered, "Not bad for a child that isn't even mine," and set it down like a grocery receipt. I pretended it didn't sting. But deep down, I was bleeding. What hurt even more than her cruelty was my father's silence. He never once defended me. When she called me the mistake, he didn't argue. When she told neighbors, "Anna takes after nobody in this family, she's just different," he only smiled tightly. I wondered, did he know something I didn't? By the time I hit high school, I was desperate for answers. I started rummaging through old boxes, searching photo albums for evidence. But the earliest baby pictures of me were blurry, few, almost hidden compared to the dozens of photos of my brother. Once, I found a hospital bracelet tucked in a drawer. It had my name, but the mother's name was scribbled over, almost illegible. When I asked about it, my mother snatched it from my hand and barked, "Stay out of things that don't concern you." That night, I cried myself to sleep, and for the first time I wondered, maybe she wasn't lying. Maybe I really wasn't hers. The final blow came when I was 17. I had been accepted into a state college with a partial scholarship. I was overjoyed. But when I told my mother, she sneered, "Why waste money on you? You're not even blood." This time I didn't swallow it. I shouted back, "Mom, then who am I? Tell me the truth." My father sat in his chair, silent as usual. My mother's face twisted and she spat. "Ask the mailman. Ask the milkman. Ask anyone. You're not mine." I slammed my bedroom door, shaking. That night, I vowed that one day I'd find the truth, whether she wanted me to or not. Years passed. I tried to live my life, but the wound followed me everywhere. At weddings, at birthdays, I'd watch mothers embrace their daughters, and inside, I'd ache. When I turned 25, I finally gathered the courage. I ordered a DNA test online, just a simple kit, the kind people use for ancestry curiosity. But for me, it was life or death. For weeks, I waited. Every day, I'd check the mail like a child waiting for Christmas. Every night, I'd lie awake imagining what I might discover. And then, the envelope arrived. I tore it open with shaking hands. The results screamed the truth in black and white. The woman who raised me was not my biological mother. I collapsed onto the floor, sobbing. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't imagining her cruelty. The test had confirmed it, but there was more. The database matched me with a woman listed as my biological aunt. A woman whose name I had never heard. I stared at that name for hours. Should I reach out? What if she rejected me too? Finally, with trembling fingers, I typed, "Hi, I think we might be related. My DNA test connected us. My name is Anna." I hit send and waited. Minutes later, a reply appeared. "Oh my God, you're my sister's daughter. We've been looking for you for years." I broke. I cried harder than I ever had in my life. For the first time, someone claimed me. Someone wanted me. Armed with the truth, I confronted my mother. I laid the DNA report on the kitchen table. "It's over," I said. "I know." She glanced at the paper, then smirked. "Finally figured it out, huh? Took you long enough." Her indifference cut deeper than all the years of denial. But something inside me had shifted. I wasn't begging anymore. I wasn't asking for her love. I was holding proof in my hands. "You don't get to define me anymore," I whispered. "I know who I am now." For once, she had no reply. Reconnecting with my biological aunt opened doors I never imagined. She introduced me to my biological mother, the woman who had given me up under circumstances I'll share another day. For now, I'll just say this. She cried when she saw me. She said, "I've dreamed of this moment for decades. I won't pretend it was all easy. The years of abandonment, of rejection, don't vanish overnight. But finding them was like discovering a missing piece of myself I didn't know I needed." Looking back now, I realized something powerful. I spent years chasing the love of someone determined to deny me. But in the end, the truth has a way of breaking free, whether through whispers, photographs, or a DNA test. If you're watching this and you've ever felt unwanted, please hear me. You are not a mistake. You are not invisible. Sometimes the family we lose is nothing compared to the family we gain. And if my story resonated, share it. Someone out there needs to know they're not alone. Because for years, I thought I was no one's daughter. Now I know I am my own.